Welcome.
To the joy of coding.
Hello, and welcome to episode 392 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to see you. It's so good to be here, and we're going to live hack on some Firefox stuff, and we're going to, continue our journey. More documentation. I think we're in the home stretch. I know it maybe doesn't feel that way, but we're in the home stretch. We're plowing through some documentation stuff, and we're getting to the point where we'll be having all of the modules documented. And one of the interesting things that we discovered last week is that we might actually be able to turn some of the TypeScript type safety stuff on for like certain modules when this is all done, which I think is pretty neat. It's the little things. So let's start by sharing my screen so you can see what I'm seeing. Hey, it's January 29th, 2025. A reminder, no plan survives breakfast. I think I know what I want to do today. I think I know how things are going to go down, but maybe not. Maybe, did I just open up a hole in my green screen? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's a chair in the way. Maybe I did open up a hole in my green screen. It doesn't matter. We'll see how things go. I might get distracted or sidelined or interrupted, and we'll just deal with it as we go. Dealing with life as it comes at you. That's how we roll with The Joy of Coding. I don't have anything super pre-planned, except I want to continue working on this documentation. That's the first thing. Second thing, the agenda that we're looking at. You have access to this. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, check out the details section over there. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out the video details for a link to the agenda. If you're watching this on Twitch, check out the channel details. This agenda will update as I write stuff into it, and then this little spinny will spin, and if you reload, you'll get all of the updates. Now, I want to briefly highlight some things that I've been enjoying recently. You've probably noticed that I'm more or less a vertical tabs convert at this point. Also, I've switched up my new tab background. I really like this new background. It looks nice. And this, you're getting like a preview of some sections stuff that we're testing out in new tab. I'm really enjoying the background. I'm having a good time with vertical tabs, and a couple of my favorite things that's going on in new tabs land, or in vertical tabs land. The sidebar now has this like keyboard shortcut for expand and collapse, which I now use quite a bit. Like, you don't have to find the button and do it. I think someone is also, my colleague Kelly Cochran is working on an option that allows it to open up if you hover the sidebar over here. So that's something that people have been requesting. And the other thing is there are now close buttons when we're in the collapse state. So I can like close this tab, and then, I don't have to like expand it to close. I could have used the keyboard shortcut, and oftentimes I do use the keyboard shortcut, but it is nice to also be able to like close background tabs with just the click of a mouse button without having to expand the sidebar. I also want to point out a couple of neat things that I learned about tab groups. That's another thing that people have been working on and people have been asking for. So let's create a tab group. I'm going to open up some tabs here. Got some pocket stories, and I'm going to put all of those in a tab group. Add tabs to new group, and I'm going to call this like interesting stories, and I'm going to give this a red color. Let's do that. And if I expand it, I get interesting stories. If I collapse, it's just the first character, interesting stories. And I can collapse and expand that group. That's helpful. If I want to get back to my interesting stories, I can like read this, and then I want to switch over to these. I can go over here and close individual ones. That's nice. One of the neat things about it, though, is that I found out if you close a group, so you can right-click on a group, you can rename it, you can change the color. I can also save and close the group. So if I save and close the group is gone. And then over here there's this button, list all tabs. There's tab groups. There's like a list of tab groups that are currently closed but saved. I can restore them, and I get those tab groups back, which is kind of neat, and they reload on demand. And so I thought that was kind of cool, and then I can like delete the group when I'm done with it. So new options, new powers and capabilities are coming. This is currently, I believe, the default state in Nightly. You get all of this stuff. I don't know, actually, no, hold on. The default state has tabs in horizontal mode, and I believe the sidebar is not enabled by default, the new sidebar, but those are going to be added. Right now they're in the labs section. If you go into Firefox Labs, I think you can enable them here. But in the coming days, you'll be able to access them from another part of preferences. I think they're being moved out of labs. They're being graduated to a different part of the browser preferences. Anyways, I'm pretty stoked about that. And I just really love this background. This is a nice background. Okay, so what are we working on? Oh, Nerd Bloke is typing something. We'll see what Nerd Bloke is typing. But in the meantime, let us continue on with what we were working. Any idea when it's planned for release? Vertical tabs. That's a great question. I don't think we have. I don't know personally. I think there's gonna we want to make sure that we're proud of the feature. We want it to. You only get one chance to make a good first impression, and so we want to make it so that, well, first of all, this isn't going to be the default mode, but we're going to offer it maybe either during onboarding, or we're going to direct people to the settings that it's like, hey, what's the what do you want? Do you want vertical tabs? Do you want horizontal tabs? And you really only get one chance to make that first impression for a pre-existing user. For new users, you can ask them during onboarding, or if they make it clear that they want to customize the browser. But we want it so that when people use vertical tabs, that it serves all of their needs. That a person who maybe has a different need for vertical tabs, or has a different maybe they use Sideberry or tree style tabs or something, that we've done enough to sort of make the feature compelling. We don't want it to be just sort of this thing that people look at and go it's okay, and then they switch back to horizontal tabs. We want it to be a valid, a real choice, and that the vertical tabs implementation meets our quality standards. And so there's going to be a lot of testing. And that means not just automated testing. That doesn't just mean manual testing from QA. We're going to be turning it on stages, doing experimentation with it, and seeing what people think of it in the lab and in the wild, etc. And so I don't know when the planned release is, but I suspect it'll be sometime this year. It's fairly feature complete. I think implementation wise, for the most part, it is doing what was in the original specification. Now, whether or not they want to make some adjustments, they're going to take this implementation, they're going to put it in front of people, they're going to test it out, and now that it's done, and get people to actually drive the browser around, see how it feels, we're going to see whether or not that matches our original research when we did the design, and then maybe make some adjustments. We'll see. So I don't know. That was a long way of saying I don't know when it's planned for release. I like it. I'm ready. If you want it in nightly, it's there for you. I believe you can actually turn it on in beta and release right now as well. It's in labs. Now, one thing that actually you bring to mind an interesting point, because I just realized. Hang on, let me find the bug. Where is it? If the new browser layout section, that's this bug right here. Sorry, I did this off screen, but add sidebar and vertical tabs checkboxes and about preferences and remove from nightly labs. It's a P1, and starting from nightly 36, we need to remove it, introduce the browser layout section for the sidebar and preferences, and then let's see if it's gated behind any let's see if it's gated behind a release channel. So this is the definition of the UI for toggling. We added some strings, makes sense. We've removed it from labs, makes sense. It doesn't look like it's gated. So I'm gonna say, I don't know. Don't quote me on this, but this just landed. So it's possible that it will be available in about preferences starting in 1:36, which, if we take a look at what train is it now, goes to release on March 4th. Is it going to get backed out? Are we going to find problems and back it out? Maybe. Who knows? We'll see. But the moving it to about preferences is there, and that's just one part of it. Like, we might want to show some onboarding to allow people, like, to sort of like let people know that this feature exists. So I don't know. It depends, I guess, on what you mean by release, because technically it's already released. You can go onto the release channel right now if you pop open your release instance of Firefox, and I believe it's in Firefox. Is it in Firefox Labs? No, it isn't. It's only in beta. Is it in beta? It's not in beta. That's very interesting. Well, I think it's in 136 to answer the question. I think it will be available as a thing. You can configure in about preferences in 136, presuming this patch doesn't get backed out. That's my guess. Nerdbloke asks, how is the QA for Profile Backup going? It is paused. The Profile Backup project has been mothballed. I have been dispatched to work on other things, and Profile Backup is currently paused. Now, we may end up revisiting it in the near or midterm future, but for now, the project is paused, which is a bit of a bummer. But priorities change, priorities shift, and the code is still there. The tests are still running. We may come back to it in the future. I was recently talking to someone from the Updater team, and there's this idea that we might be able to make use of the backup system to snapshot the profile before an upgrade, before a version upgrade. That way, if something somehow corrupts the profile during an upgrade, there's an easier way to roll back. We just restore the snapshot from before the upgrade while we do a downgrade. So instead of running your broken profile and then downgrading the instance of the browser, we could just run the older version of the browser with the snapshotted profile, something like that. So there are some talks along those lines, but for now, I don't think the backup feature is kind of ready for the prime time just yet. We did a lot of good work on it, though. That happens. Okay, let's continue. So the customizable UI documentation. I need to rebase. Again, same as usual. Let's check out Bookmarks Central. Let's go ahead and pull. Let's go ahead and check out customizable UI documentation. Git rebase Bookmarks Central. All right. So, yeah, we were a good chunk of the way through documenting customizable UI internal, which is this thing. I'd say we're about halfway through it. Where have we gotten to? Oof, there's still quite a bit left. Are we halfway through it? Okay, we got to about here. Create special widget. Okay, this still needs to be done. Okay. So let's go ahead and continue on from here. Let me check to see if there's any more questions in the chat. There are not. Also, while I have the chat in mind, I want to mention, a couple of people had pointed this out last episode, we're closing in on episode 400. And I need ideas on what I can do for episode 400. If there's something in particular you want to see me do for the 4th centennial anniversary of the Joy of Coding, let me know. You can either drop it in the chat or you can fill in this form here and you can give me your thoughts. A couple of ideas off the top of my head. What to do for the 400th episode? I could do a spicy hacking episode. So I did that. I've done that a couple times. This is where I work on code while eating very spicy food on a regular interval, usually about 10 minutes per wing or something. So you get to watch me suffer a little bit with heat. That's for the fans of hot ones. You can just kind of watch me kind of go like while I'm hacking. You can watch me play a video game. I could just do a normal stream where I play a video game. I don't know if I'd want to put that on air. Maybe I'd put that on Air Mozilla. It seems a little silly to. You know what? I'm gonna take that one off. That's not really relevant, Mozilla wise, or code wise. We could examine some video game source code. You know, there's a video game that's open source. We could look at it. We try to build it. We could try and change some parts of it. What else? We could try to fix a Thunderbird bug. I think we did that a few, maybe at 250 or something, or 350. We could try to fix the oldest possible Firefox bug during the episode. So find a really old bug, try to fix it in a one shot. Write a simple add-on. Write a simple add-on to do something. That's Smurf D. Whoa, what does that sound? Oh, you know what? I think there's a plow going by. It snowed a lot, Toronto. Folk probably know this, but it snowed in Toronto last night, and there are plows going by and stuff, and I just felt it through the ground. If you've got more ideas, let me know. You can just drop a message, and I'll add it to the possibilities list. So I talked about those things. Oh, what are the keyboard shortcuts? It's Control Z on Mac OS. And what is it on Windows and Linux? Let me just look that up. I think it's Command Z. Shortcuts. Keyboard shortcut for expanding and hiding the sidebar. Okay, so this is the bug. And ignore the first comment that's wrong, the ones that were selected. Here we go. Mac OS, Command Z, or Control Z, expand on Windows and Linux are the same. Alt Control Z. Alt Control Z. Paradigm Shift Stream. Use all AI tools, says Chris. Well, no code written by yourself. Uh-oh. I mean, we could try and do something with AI. Try to do something with AI. How would we feel about that? You know, one thing I was thinking about, we could write a tool that tries to pipe the transcript of past episodes into an LLM to produce video titles. Title suggestions. So right now, the joy of coding is like, joy of coding, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. There's not really any titles. And for a while there, I was trying to solicit titles for the videos. Because like that's one of the pieces of feedback I'd gotten through the forum is people going like, I don't know what this show is. It's just like a list of episode numbers. It'd be great if there were titles to kind of give people a sense of what goes on. And I wasn't about to go and rewatch all 391 episodes-ish to come up with titles. That's way too much. But we can get the transcripts. And maybe we can have an LLM attempt to produce some video title suggestions. We could try that. We could revive Adzo and attempt to hand roll our own captions using newer models. Adzo is a tool that is, you can find it in the Joy of Coding episode guide repository that I used to use to do all client side. So I'd extract the audio from a video a Joy of Coding episode, and I would do transcription, like client-side transcription. And it was relatively good, and we got all these transcripts written. So this would be similar to Adzo. It might even be like an addition to Adzo. We could try to write something in Rust. I've done this before, but we could try again. All right, that's an option. Oh, you know what? We could try to port a module, a JS module, to Rust for use with application services. That might be interesting. So this is a thing that we've been trying to do, is to share more code between Firefox Desktop and Firefox for Android and Firefox for iOS. Now, what's particularly interesting about that problem is that normally sharing code between Firefox for Android and Firefox for desktop has been easy because we have Toolkit, and we have Gecko. So, we can execute JavaScript. We've got all XPCOM. Like, we got all this stuff that is common between desktop and mobile. We don't have that on iOS because Firefox for iOS is written using WebKit, and it's a wrapper around the WebKit WebView thing. But it is possible to write libraries. Like, we've developed ways to write a library once in Rust, compile it, and have bindings be created for Kotlin, for Swift, and then via XPCOM to JavaScript and like C++ XPCOM, or I think it's just JavaScript, via XPCOM. And so we could find a module, I've got a couple in mind, and attempt to port one to Rust, so that module could then be used by, say, iOS and Firefox for Android, as well as desktop. So that's an idea. Let me know what you think. You can either write it in the chat, or you can, or you can, send that rate that episode form, and I'll read it all. Alt Control Z on Linux and Windows. And then I'll also add, looks like it might ride out as an option in Firefox 136 March. And then I'll link to the source bug for that little bit of hot goss. Right there. Okay. Anyways, back to what we were up to. Find widget in window. What does this thing do? Find a Zool provided widget in a window. Don't try to use this for an API provided widget or a special widget. Okay. This is just for Zool widgets. Now, who calls this? Ourselves. And one thing we might do, get widget node, is we could make this clearer by calling this find Zool widget in window. Rename symbol, find Zool widget in window. And I'm pretty sure that will update all the callers, yeah. And I'm pretty sure there aren't any external callers because it's not exposed. Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and update the documentation. Find a Zool provided widget in window. Don't try to use this for an API provided widget or a special widget. Param string AID, the ID of the Zool widget. Zool provided widget. Find Zool widget. Find a Zool provided widget node. To find widget to find the node for in a window, and then param dom window a window, the window to find the Zool provided widget node for, and returns either null or the node. That'll be a DOM node or null. The found Zool widget node or null if it cannot be found. I do notice that it throws, so I'm going to say throws. I've not used this in a while. You know what? I've never used it. I don't think we've used it elsewhere. Oh, so we have. So we have. Throws error. Throws error. Throws if throws if the if a window is not a registered build window. Sure. Build widget. Okay, we're getting into the good stuff now. And is that called externally? I don't think so. Yeah, it's only called internally. Constructs a what does that actually do? Was it returning build widget? Oh, build widget node. Constructs a node for a particular widget, for a customizable UI widget, for that can be placed within a document as a document. The document that the node will be inserted into a widget, which will be, it's either a string or I think it's a widget wrapper. What is it? It's either a string or a thing that has show in private browsing. Which is a widget. Create widget. Widget group wrapper. Is it a widget group wrapper? It is. I think it's a widget group wrapper or a Zool widget group wrapper. Okay. Edit. No redo. Okay, so it's either a string, a Zool, or a widget group wrapper, or a Zool widget group wrapper. The widget wrapper, customizable UI widget wrapper, or ID, widget ID of the widget to construct, returns a DOM node or null. Returns the constructed node for the widget to be placed in a document. Will return null if the widget is not allowed, if the widget node is not allowed to be placed in a document. For example, if a document is a private browsing window document and the widget is not allowed to be placed in such a window. I'll say it throws error. Can throw if the document is not a browser window document, or if the or if a widget is null. All right. Okay. Pretty good. Next, Thank you. Next. Ensure subview listeners. Oh boy. Okay. This doesn't return anything. What is this thing doing? So it'll go through. Find any widget associated with a particular view for each of the subview events. We'll add an event listener. So this is us hooking up event listeners for anytime the view changes to particular widgets that are associated with that view. Okay. And that's case subview events. That's view showing and hiding. Okay. Iterates all widgets in the palette. And for customizable widgets that have their view ID property set to view nodes ID. And then for each of those widgets, oh wait, it's gonna find the first one. Iterates all widgets for the first customizable widget that has. That's what view ID. If the widget is type view. A button that opens a view in a panel. So there's only, is there only ever one? I think that's the case. There's only ever one. And then there's the ID, which is the view. Okay, I think that's what it is. Iterate, so this is finds the widget in the palette that has its view ID property set to the ID of view node, and then hooks up each k subview events to the appropriate listeners on the widget. When does this occur? Ensure subview listeners. Ensure that the customizable widget that matches up with this view node will get the... Oh, so this is exposed publicly. And this is called externally. Okay, I'm just going to say C customizable UI ensure subview listeners. All right, get localized property. Is that called externally? It is. So we're gonna C customizable UI get localized property. And then get localized property. Think that's the right move. Like, presumably I can't just like leave these. Can I just like leave these blank? That'd be kind of nice. And then it's just like, hey, take a look at this other thing. Is that like legal if I do mock lint browser components customizable UI customizable UI.sys.mjs? Yeah. Okay, so like everywhere I've done C, I think I can simplify this. I can get rid of I think I can just do this. I think. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I was doing all this repetition before. I think this will be okay. Whoop. Okay. Now let's see if it likes it. How do you like me now? Awesome. Don't need to even describe it. How about add shortcut? Is that a freebie? It is a freebie. Oh, we're getting a bunch of freebies. C customizable UI add shortcut. And that takes a shortcut node, which is an element. Hang on. Wait. What's the return value? It wasn't including a return. Oh, there is no return value. Okay, great. There is no return value. Do widget command. Now that one's not exposed externally. So we now have an interesting one, an interesting case. So if the widget has executes a widget, a customizable UI widget's command handler, command handler to handle a event, which is presumably a command event. To handle a event. I don't think I need this last part. So a widget, that is a Zool, a group widget group wrapper, or a Zool widget group wrapper. The customizable UI widget to call the command handler for a node. This is the presumably the node that the a event command event fired on, and then a event that's a command event, the command event to handle, and no return value. What is this used for? It's not used at all. think we can just get rid of that widget command. Yeah, I think we can just get rid of that. Or you know what? Let's take a to do. File a bug to get rid of. Customized UI widget command notification. We'll just move on. Let's keep this contained. Show widget view. That is also internal. Okay. So a widget is presumably going to be these two types. To show the view for, the panel view for. Okay, so there's the node, there's the event. We get the placement of the area. We get the area type. We determine if the widget is currently disallowing the subview, and if we're in the panel and we're overflowed. Oh, so we don't do the subview animation. Okay. We'll hide the panel. Otherwise, if we are not in a panel type, we'll get the wrapper. Find the panel multi-view. If there is a panel multi-view, if it's not designed for the panel type, if we're not in a panel, but we are in a panel multi-view, that's great. What case would that be? Oh, if it maybe we're in the overflow. We're in the overflow case. Then we'll hide the panel. That's weird. It's almost the same. But not quite. When was this added? Huh, I added this. Make browser actions pop out of overflow. Fix browser action panel. If the area that the widget is in. I see. I see. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, so if the widget is placed within a panel, and we're not supposed to show it as a subview, then we hide the panel and then open the subview, or open in its own panel. If we are in a toolbar, because that's the only other kind right now, or any non-panel type, and yet we are somehow in a panel multi-view. I guess that's the, that would be like the, that might be the add-ons panel. We'll hide the panel. That's weird, but all right. The customizable UI widget to show the panel view for the node, that's a DOM node. The node that is handling the event that is causing the panel view to show. And then there's the event that'll be like the event that the node is handling that is causing the panel view to show. And do we do anything with that event, or do we just pass it along? We just pass it along. Okay. And we don't return anything. So handles an event on a customizable UI widget node that has a panel view associated with it. This routine will cause the panel view to be displayed. Handle widget command. Didn't we just do this? Do widget command. Handle widget command. Right. I see. So do widget command executes the, okay. Okay. So the issue is that not every widget has an on command handler. Some of them, even though the button will eventually fire a command, we will choose to do something based on the kind of widget it is. If it's a button, then it is presumed to have a command event handler. If it's a view type, then we'll show the panel. Or if it's a button in view, it'll depend on like if it's one of those combined combined buttons, then it depends on where you click it. But okay, handles a command event on a customizable UI widget node and chooses to and does the action that best suits the type of widget. Widget, that is going to be the group widget group wrapper, or Zool widget group wrapper. The widget to handle the command event for DOM node. The node that the command event is being fired on, and then the event, that's the command event, the command event to be handled. And there's no return value. Handle widget click. This is different. Oh, and is this another one of those things that we don't need anymore? So it is. So let's update our notes here. Get rid of and notifications. Save. Handle widget click, which isn't the exact same thing as command. Command can also be fired if you use the keyboard to get there. Handles a click event. And does the action that best suits the type of widget. Handles a click event on a customizable UI widget node. This is closest to, I think, do widget command. All right. And redirects to the widget's on click event handler. A widget. That's going to be a widget group wrapper. Right, Zool widget group wrapper. The widget to call the on click event handler for if one exists. If such a handler exists. If such a handler exists. If the handler does not exist, this nothing is called. Okay, on a node, as a DOM node, the node that fired the click event. This is a mouse event. The click event to be handled. Get panel for node. Well, let's go ahead and update that to actually be private. Oh. Oh. Private identifiers now allowed outside of class bodies. Oh, we're not. What in the world? Is this not a class? Is customizable UI internal is as an object? We don't have. Shoot. All right, leave it the way it is. Maybe we want to make it into a class, actually. Class action lawsuit. Customizable UI internal. I won't do it now, though. So this is returns the closest Zool panel element to a node in its ancestry, or null if no such node can be found. DOM node. The node to check the ancestry for returns DOM node or null. All right, how are we doing? How are we doing progress-wise? Ultimately, we're trying to get to... Oh boy. Reset. Undo reset. Some of these are already documented. That's good. But ultimately, we're trying to get to here, 4766, and I think we're just over halfway there. Ay caramba, says Smurf D. Indeed. Okay, what is this? What is this function? It is an interactive element. If you put things in the panel which need more than single-click interaction, we don't want to close it. Right now, we check for text inputs and menu buttons. We also check for being outside of any toolbar item, toolbar button, i.e. on a blank part of the menu or on another menu, like a context menu inside the panel. So this returns true if what is ultimately true if the event being handled, the click event being handled is on haven't customized enough. There's no panel. There's clearly nothing for us to close. Otherwise, we go through the targets. If target is disabled, when would we return false? If the tag name of the thing is toolbar item, if we have we'll now interact with the menu. When would we return false? We'd return false here. Or that's it. We'd only return false here if the target that we got to get attribute type is not menu. If the tag name, we get to a toolbar item and it's not a menu type, which need more than single click. We don't want to close it. Right now we check for text inputs and menu buttons. Text, do we check for a text input? Say it's true and then, okay. Is click event being handled is on one of these interactive things that should result in the associated panel closing. Menu item. That's wild. Maybe auto hide panel. We don't. That should result in the associated panel closing. Okay. Well, param event, a event, the click event that is occurring. Is it a click event? Not necessarily. If the event being handled should result in associated panel closing. The event that is occurring that we're evaluating returns Boolean true if the event occurred on an item we consider interactive, such that the enclosing panel should close. Right? Maybe auto hide panel. Oh no, it's the other way around. It's the other way around. People put in a single, we don't want to close it. So this turns true if the event being held is one of those interact things that should not result in the associated panel closing. Should stay open, remain open. False if the panel should close. And that only gets called if the event is not of type command. So that could be a click. That could be a key press. Okay. All right. Well, now we understand this. It's a little wild, but okay. Hide panel for node. Finds the associated panel, if any, for a given DOM node, enclosing a given DOM node, and closes it. Right? Get panel for node. Wait, how does that work? How is get? Yeah, get panel for node should have an underscore. Not. Whoop. Get panel for node. Find replace. It's the opposite of what I want to do, but it's what we must do. DOM node. The node to find the panel parent for. Parent ancestor for. To close. To close the parent ancestor for, I should say. Maybe auto hide panel. Handles an event that might cause the so for an event that occurs for a DOM node within a panel, this routine will check to see if that event should cause the panel to close. Whoo! Okay. The event that is being fired on the DOM node, for a node, I'm just gonna say the node, on the node. This could be a keyboard, mouse, or command event, for example. Returns nothing. Get unused widgets. Is this called externally? It is a freebie. C, customizable UI, get unused widgets. Freebie, freebie. Copy that. Copy that. I don't know if I believe this. Widget group wrapper, or it's not, this isn't correct. It's not one or the other. This is, all right, JSDoc mixed array. How do I say a mixed array? Type. It's this. Wait, no. How to document, what's the best way to document array? Not an array of arrays. JSDoc array. Okay. So it'd be array, that, or that. That's how it should be done. Unused widgets. Get placement of widget. Is this another freebie? Please. Yes. Yeah. Yes. We get a freebie. Give me freebie. I want Fugu. Customizable UI. Get placement of widget. Wait, what? Hold up. Hold up. This takes some extra parameters. So it's not exactly a pass-through. Oh, hold up, hold up. This is straight up wrong. Param, Boolean, A only registered, true. And I don't exactly know what that means. We'll check that out in a second. A Boolean, A dead areas is false. What does that mean? Get placement of widget. A only registered. Oh, in the event. Okay, I understand. So we can get the placement even if the widget is no longer registered, which can happen if, for example, an extension introduces a widget via the web extension API, and then that widget is uninstalled, we still remember the placement of that widget so that next time you install that extension, maybe you re-enable it, it doesn't go back to the default. It goes back to where it remembers you had placed it. So we remember kind of forever. So a widget can be, we can request the placement even if it's not registered. And then dead areas. Okay, if an area no longer exists, I guess that's also true. Okay. Okay. Boolean. Set to false to return placements for widgets that aren't registered but still exist within the placements state, having been registered in the past and placed in the past. A dead areas equals false. Include placements within areas that are no longer registered but still exist in the state, in the area placement state. Set to true to include placements within dead areas that are no longer registered but still exist in the placement state. Okay, so we've fixed that up. Get placement of widget. And now we can get rid of these. Haha! How are we doing on time? 2:11. Doing great. We're gonna cross the 3,000 mark. That's good news. Widget exists. Is this another freebie? It is not. This is not a freebie, but I think it's pretty straightforward. Widget ID is a string. GPal, the Pogba is a default API. It's a custom widget. If it's not in GPal, it doesn't exist. So if we've seen the widget before, or the widget is saved to Pocket. Save to Pocket button. What is this for? GC destroyed API widgets. Returns true if the widget the widget ID belongs to a widget that is in the palette. What is gpalette again? Gpalette. Map of every widget that it knows about keyed on their IDs. Okay. Belongs to a widget that is registered. Is a special widget. C is special widget. Is special widget. Or this will return false. Return false for widget IDs belonging to widgets we have seen in the past but are no longer registered. There is also a special case for treating the save to pocket button as a non-existent widget unless it's in the this is also a special case for treating this as a non-existent widget. All other IDs are presumed to belong to Zool widgets and presumed to exist. It's kind of a weird thing. Returns Boolean. I'm actually going to put this down here. Oh boy, come on. Okay. Check for the current existence of a widget by ID. All right, add widget to area. We've crossed the 3,000 mark, gang. Woo! Is this exposed externally? Incredibly, yes, it is. Okay, good. Okay, so we get this one for free. See customizable UI, add widget to area. We'll go ahead and copy those. Param. Now there's an a initial add here that is not provided. That is not used by the externally exposed method. But is used elsewhere. A initial add. False. Let's do that. True if this is the first time the widget is being added to the area. How do we know that? Add widget to area. When we restore state for the area. Add widget to area. Oh, add widget to area. I see. During initialization. It's being added to the area for the first time during initialization or after a state reset. Not initial add, we'll add it to the dirty area cache. Okay. Remove widget from area. See customizable UI, remove widget from area. Yes. Take me to your implementation. I know that string there's no return value. It's wild that that doesn't let me like go to the implementation. How do I get to you? Huh. Okay. Move widget within area. C customizable UI move widget within area. Does that exist? It does. Heyo. And that's the widget ID. That'll be a string. And then this. Why am I adding those comments? Number. So like I shouldn't need that. It's a bad habit. I needed it for this one because this isn't in the other documentation. Is special widget. Yeah, okay. Get saved horizontal snapshot state. That is not exposed externally. Okay, so this is interesting. Returns the horizontal tab strips placements state that was saved when switching to vertical tabs mode, saved the last time we switched to vertical tabs mode. Returns state. That's an object. All right. Get saved vertical snapshot state. Returns the vertical tab strips placement state. Let's say last time we switched to horizontal tabs mode. Load saved state. Huh. Okay. Returns nothing. Loads the saved customization state objects from preferences and or sets them to their default defaults if no such state can be found. Okay. The panel area is the exception. No, this does not populate G placements. I don't think that's true anymore. Clear user. So we try and get the customization state. If there's no state, okay. We try and parse that state. If we can't parse it, we'll clear it out. Falling back to the defaults. If there's no placements, we'll set that on the saved state. If there's no current version, we'll set the current version on it. And then we'll set some defaults here. G placements. The panel area is an exception. The panel area is gone, so I'm going to get rid of that comment. Okay, restore state for area. Is that used externally? Restore state for area. No. Oh boy, where? I I hate to keep doing this, but I have to know, how close are we to being done this this object? I keep checking. 456 keeps getting further away because we keep adding lines. But how many lines are between us and being done? How many lines are selected? 4,856 minus. Okay, let's do some math. 4,856 minus, let's say 3,207. There are just over 1,500 lines to go. And we've already completed, let's say 3,205 minus 3,205 minus 275. We've already completed 2,750. So, we're well over halfway. We're continuing to plug along. We're getting some freebies here and there, which is nice. Let's do this last one, and then I think I'm going to call it. All right. Restore state for area. That's got to be an area ID. Area ID. That's going to be a string. Given an area ID, a customizable area ID, if the placements pre-existed, restoring from pre-existing placements. Saved state, restoring from saved state. Default state. The area that we're at before was able to be restored. Sounds register widgets for lately restored area before it's been restored. Okay. And when's that called? Restore state. Whoops. Restore state for area. It's called when resetting and registering. Okay. During call restores the placements, restores the placements of widgets within an area belonging with ID, a area ID, or sets the default placements if no from saved state, or sets the default placement if no such saved state exists. This should be called during area registration or after a state reset. I don't think there's a return value. I think, yeah, we just end it. We just restore the ID of the area to restore the state for. So that'll actually like move the DOM nodes around. Okay, let's call it there. Hey, thanks for watching episode 300 and whatever this was, 392 of The Joy of Coding. Let me know what you thought. There's a form. There's a form right here where you can rate this episode. That's also a great place to give me more ideas. Link to rate this episode. This is a place to give me more ideas in case there's something you want me to do for the 400th episode that's coming up. 8 episodes away. You know, I put some ideas in here. Give me more ideas. Maybe we'll do a vote. We'll see what people think. But we need to get some candidates. So nominate some ideas, and then we'll put it to a vote. We'll do a poll or something, and I'll make a decision on what to do. And otherwise, you can let me know how the episode went. You can also ask me questions if you have questions about anything I'm doing. That's a great place to ask me, and I'm always watching the chat. So thanks again for watching episode 392 of The Joy of Coding, and I'll see you next week. Probably. Let me just double check. Do I have an episode next week, or am I away? I should be in town. So yeah, I will see you next week for episode 393. Have yourselves a great week, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.